to say subscribe, like, and follow.
That was so dramatic. I thought you were going to say something to me.
To the people there, because we, you know?
Yes. Subscribe. So far.
For old time's sake, do you want to do a...
Welcome! We are now on YouTube, people. Alphawaves. On every wave. Darren, I'm so tired.
Anyway, subscribe to the YouTube channel below. Follow
Yes.
us on Instagram at Alphawaves_, or type in Alphawaves Podcast and you'll see us there on TikTok as well.
Exactly. Follow that sign.
Sweet. Alright, yeah.
So it's, you know what? This is the longest intro we've done
It is.
since we've done intros. We just got to get straight into it. So what does conflict versus compromise mean to you off the bat?
What does it mean to me?
Yeah.
It means standing for something versus giving in to something.
Wait, is it conflict or is it conforming?
Conforming it is. That's what you said.
I keep saying conflict. No, I've said conflict like 5 times now.
Yeah, conforming.
Yeah, conform or compromise.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of conflict going on in the world right now. I see what's going on.
Yeah.
Anyway, on a lighter note, conforming versus compromising.
Yeah.
Right. I think there's like a grey line between the two, and it depends on the situation.
A grey area, like a middle ground.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, yeah. What do you think about compromising? I used to have quite firm beliefs with compromising, although I do compromise myself. I thought initially I thought you shouldn't have to compromise. You know, you don't have to compromise who you are, how you feel, or whatever. And as I've started to look at my friendships, relationships, all that kind of stuff, and my relationship to myself, I'm realizing that compromise is an essential part of life.
Do you think so?
I think so.
Compromise, you said, yeah?
Yeah,
Okay,
compromise.
yeah.
I think compromising, it's so... If you don't turn it into like a manipulative thing or like where one person is constantly compromising or compromising to a point that they're not comfortable with, if you can find a happy...
I think that's when it turns into conforming.
Yeah.
I think so. When it's like uncomfortable and you're doing too much of it, it doesn't sit right with you at all. I think that's when it's conforming.
Let's break it down then. So what is conforming to you?
Conforming to me is exactly that, like doing something that goes against your moral standpoint just to get somewhere, if that makes sense. Like,
that's interesting.
There's a lot of conformists, is that a word?
Is now.
Hey. There's a lot of that I see going on for people, like for personal gain. But I look at them and I'm like, once you've received your gain, are you really happy? Because a lot of them don't.
Can you give an example?
A quick example is musicians that make a type of song that might blow up in the charts, but then 5 years later they're not comfortable performing that song. Yeah. That's a base level. Obviously I can go a lot deeper outside of music. Okay. And I think we can go there as well. But I just mean,
as an example.
An example, yeah.
It's interesting that you're looking at conforming in that way, because when I hear the word conforming, I think the initial thoughts that come to me, I kind of think of like going along with something, but not with gain. Like I think of it as, I don't want to be too harsh, but the word that is literally popping in my head is like cowardliness.
Are you trying to create a word as well now? Because I don't.
And trying to remix it.
No, I get what you mean though.
Yeah, like being cowardly. I feel that's how I view conforming sometimes, where you kind of sacrifice what you want.
What's the point of that if you're not getting anything from it?
Maybe you're too scared to say something. Bystanding, like being a bystander, you know, people pleasing. There's so many reasons why people conform. Like when I think of people who conform, I think of someone who doesn't, and there's no judgment. Like I've definitely conformed a good few times in my life, but you know, like people who want to avoid rocking the boat.
Interesting. So saying what you just said, saying that you have done before in your life, what do you think is the point where you realized you don't need to, or have you realized that you don't need to?
Yeah, definitely. I think.
Or do you think you need to in some situations?
I don't think you do need to. I think that's the thing, because that's the myth. Because once you do it, once you don't conform 1 or 2 times, you realize that it's not actually that hard to do. It's very uncomfortable in the beginning to not conform, and to even to tap into yourself and realize how you feel about something. Like I think we move through life without even knowing how we feel about things, and like you don't pay attention to it because everything's so fast moving.
Yeah.
So when you do it a couple of times, I feel then you're just really okay with never conforming.
But I think it also comes back to why you're conforming though. Like if it's for personal gain, and say like there's a status quo that most people have to meet or fit across certain criteria to get certain ways. So even something simple like work. Like,
I was just gonna say, yeah.
You have to look a certain way or dress a certain way,
or even like
be a
work
certain
hard,
way.
play hard culture. You know, where it's like you have to like say if your style of working is a bit more laid back, but the place that you work is not really like that. There is a tendency to conform to the way that they work.
Would you call that conforming though, or would that be like compromising your natural to then? I don't know. It's
because I wouldn't call it compromising.
Not compromising, is it?
No, if you're doing what something is laid out as, I wouldn't call that a compromise.
So what is a compromise?
I think a compromise is when I've gone so blank. Wait.
What about in a relationship? What do you think?
Oh, you love to bring it back to.
I'm just asking the question.
Every time.
I'm just asking the question.
So compromising in relationships, I've realized lately that sometimes compromise can be misconstrued as someone telling you to not be yourself or to leave parts of yourself.
Okay.
But it's not really that, I feel. I think it's finding a middle ground to see what's making someone uncomfortable, and if you can kind of meet them in the middle with that.
And conforming, what's the difference in that setting?
Well, I feel like that's just like there's a difference between you sitting down with someone and saying, what you're doing here makes me feel uncomfortable in this way. Like, this is a boundary. I don't like this, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Can you not do that, at least when you're around me? That's that. And then that person is like, okay, cool. It's not a personal thing. Like, you're not personally attacking me. You just don't like this thing. And that's okay. And that's a compromise. I think conforming.
Oh, my God.
Why? What are you?
No, I've got a question for you, but I'm just waiting.
Okay, I think conforming is when you just go along with something, you know, like you disregard your own needs completely. Okay. Yeah.
So, hypothetically speaking now,
here we of
I'm
course.
just asking
go
the
on.
question. Say you've got your own personal style, in how you dress. Yeah? You like how you dress. Your partner's cool with how you dress, but he's not really like the biggest fan. He has his own ideology of how he would like his girlfriend to dress, yeah?
Oh, my days. Yeah.
Would you feel comfortable with him changing or suggesting a different way of dressing which fits in with what his ideology is? You still look good in what he wants you to wear. You still look good.
That's not his style. Like, first of all, I'm a fashion killer. Let's talk about that. Second of all,
okay.
Second of all, that's like wearing clothes is like a form of art sometimes. Like, you know, sometimes like the way I dress will reflect how I feel that day, you know, and my style has evolved over time, like with age and experience and self-esteem and stuff like that. So it changes. Like, why the hell am I gonna dress like how some dress yourself? Do that. Let's start there.
But what if like you're going out somewhere and he suggests what he thinks you should wear? Would that be a deal breaker?
Shout out to our red flags episode, because that is a red flag. That is controlling. Like, why are you so pressed about? Okay, I understand when guys are like, oh, but you know, where it's like, you know, I don't want people looking at you a certain way, blah, blah, blah.
No, but I don't even mean that type of dressing, though. I just mean, like, you've got your style. Say your style is, like, yeah, for instance, say your style, yeah? I'm just looking at what you're wearing today. It's, like, loose, like, flowy, yeah? But he likes his women to wear tight.
Go for that type of women, then. Go there, you know? I like to wear what I want to wear on the days I like to wear it.
So you would never change it for him?
Not for him. If that day I felt not even...
You won't make that compromise.
That's conforming. That's not a compromise.
Because you don't feel comfortable doing it.
No, I don't feel comfortable. And also, it's like, why should I? Like, what is it about, like, how is, like, in that specific scenario, how is what I'm wearing affecting you?
But what if it's just a case of he's seen you wear a tighter fit once,
then
and
he
he's
can
like,
wait for me to wear that.
No, but he's
again.
like, I like how you looked in that. Can you dress more like that so more often you wouldn't compromise and do that?
What? No.
Wow.
What do you mean, wow? Go on. Why should I? No, you said wow.
No, because I worded it in a way where it was like reasonable.
No? That's not reasonable to me. That's so annoying to me. Like anyone who's trying to control how you look or how you dress, but that's not really happened to me too much.
Could you be with someone like Kanye West?
No way. First of all, you think that this issue is the first issue that comes with Kanye? No,
I just mean in terms of that. I don't want to get into anything else. I just mean because you know he's women and like he's music.
No, I don't like that. Like if someone has good fashion advice, like I'll talk to say my brothers even like, oh, what jacket should I wear or this. That's different, and that's like, you know, I'm asking for that. Or like, you know, friends or whatever, like, oh, that's a different, or even partners, like if they've been able to help me with outfits, I love that because that's really good, you know.
But that's when you ask for the help.
Yeah, or if they offer help, not like, oh, I like you in this, so wear that thing for me. Unless it's an occasion or whatever, then fine, like, you know, unless it's a day that's about them, then okay. But if it's a normal day and I'm just trying to live my life,
don't tell you what to wear.
Don't even talk to me about my clothes unless it's a compliment. Like,
that's crazy. I hear you.
I don't think it's crazy at all. I think it's so okay. Let's flip the.
Where are we going here about? Okay, what? I don't know if I want to flip any script.
We're here now. So, what would you do if if your partner wanted to change the way that you dressed? If they were like, oh, you know what? Wear suits and business suits sometimes, or if we were going out somewhere, they're like, oh, can you dress a bit more fancy? But you're wearing, you know, something that you think is really great, and you're like, but I look smart casual and I like it, and I still look.
All right, I'll be honest, yeah. It depends what what they're asking me to wear, and if I like it, if I think it can work, I'll take the suggestion. I won't necessarily say I'll definitely do it, but I'll take the suggestion. But if it's something like, this is going to sound mad. Say like, you're with your partner. This is hypothetical. This doesn't apply to me. Say you're with your partner, yeah? And then you're going to, you dress a certain way your whole life that you've been with them and prior to them, yeah? And then you're going to meet her family now. And she wants you to dress a specific way, like a specific smartness, or just because you're going to go and meet her family. I wouldn't do it. I'll be honest.
Would you not?
I wouldn't do it. No?
See, I would.
But you've lied to me how I've dressed this whole time, but now you want me to be someone else for your parents.
I would do that.
That's crazy. That's conforming to me.
Really? But me, that's not conforming. That's crazy to you. But you can't make that compromise. Because for me...
If it's something that I don't like to wear, like I don't like to wear ties. So if you told me now I need to come and put a suit and tie on to come and meet your parents,
That's quite excessive to meet parents. But
I hear you, but you know what I mean. I'm just,
like what
I'm
do they
being dramatic,
do? Like,
but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I hear you though. Like change your style up when you meet parents and family. I don't really see that as too much of a problem because, like, to me that would be a compromise. Because
That would be a compromise.
Yeah.
Okay, let me take family out this. Your partner.
But let me just say, like, when it comes to family and that kind of stuff, because you're with your partner and you're, representing them and their family, like when you're around someone's family, they just want the best for you, you know, and they want to make sure that you're with the right type of person or whatever. And unfortunately, people do judge people on how they look.
First
like
impression.
it takes a while to get to know people. So how I may dress if I was going to go see my partner would not necessarily be how.
No, I'm saying you can smarten it up, or like, you know what I mean. There's always a high level of your style.
Yeah.
There's always going to be a higher level of your style.
Just for the occasion.
Yeah. But don't want me to wear something that's totally opposite of anything that I feel comfortable in.
Yeah, don't make me feel uncomfortable. That's the thing. Yeah, and that's the fine line. Like, what is the discomfort with that, you know?
So what if now it's you're going to meet their friends for the first time, yeah? Saying about dressing, it's about your personality, and they're like, oh, don't tell so much jokes or something stupid like that.
Oh my God, if someone told me not to tell too many jokes, yeah, but for me, I don't know. Okay, let me think about this, because now we're in a moral dilemma. So it's hard not to take that personally, because then you're just kind of looking at the person like, are these things that you don't like about me? Like, are you embarrassed of me? But then it's okay for someone to not like everything about you.
Yeah.
But it's also important to let you be yourself. But I'm also like I'm definitely not my 24-year-old self. You know what I mean? Like, just bouncing off the walls, basically. So for me, I also believe that it's useful to look at yourself and evolve, you know? Yeah. But also, that's on you to do that. Like, that's your own journey to decide what stays and what goes.
Yeah.
I don't think it's really fair for someone to give you a complex about something, because they might say like, oh, don't tell too many jokes, but then someone else might love that about you, you know?
Of course. I think you should be unapologetically yourself at all times.
Yeah, I think so. When it comes to stuff like, that, you kind of have to be that way. It's like, you know, when you're around certain people who overshare, and even if you're more of a private person, you have to let them be them.
Yeah, allow people to be themselves.
Yeah,
it's true. I think so.
And if they're not, you know, not in that example, but in general, like if someone is being themselves and they're not experiencing much success in, you know, building connections with either friends or relationships, then that's on you to kind of look at yourself and think, okay, am I putting out a vibe that's making people feel uncomfortable? Like, are there certain things here that I can change? But again, that's on you. Like, I don't think it's someone's place to tell them you shouldn't be like this and you shouldn't be like that, even if you yourself are different, like giving that unsolicited advice.
I get what you mean.
Which I've obviously been guilty of, you know, but we all do that too. But I don't think it's the right thing to do.
I hear you. So, I don't
know at the same time, because sometimes people really need to be told that they're making people feel uncomfortable.
But I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's just expecting people to always fall in line with what you believe.
Or, because I also feel like, just to, you know, play devil's advocate here too, like, is it really fair for you to be unapologetically yourself when you know that some people feel uncomfortable about certain things, and just expect people to be okay with that? Because at the same time, like, going back to that earlier example of, you know, like if someone said don't tell too many jokes or whatever, like, okay, you might not be the right person for me, but also I can't really be angry at you for the way that for how you feel either.
Yeah.
You know, you're really okay. Yeah. Like if you find my jokes annoying or a person's jokes annoying, then you're okay to feel that way.
No, I hear you. I do hear that. But say if you've got like I wouldn't say it's not a major character flaw, yeah? And in certain settings, it's inappropriate. Say like people that swear all the time. But in some settings, it's like, it's a bit inappropriate. Do you think them holding back would be looked at as them compromising or conforming?
It depends on the situation, because if we go back to an earlier example of like, okay, you're meeting my parents for the first time, tone that shit down, then that's okay, you know, I feel, because it's just a different scenario. But like, also, if you know that your friends like that, like not every single person is for every single thing, you know?
Yeah.
Like, say for example, you've gone on a night out with a friend and the way that they are is so different from how you are, and they're living their life, doing their thing, and they're happy being the way that they are, you know? But that's not really your thing. Then in my head, I would think, okay, I'm not going to stop you from doing your thing if that's how you like to do what you do, but then I'm not going to be a going out friend with you.
Okay, yeah.
Like I would then try and compromise on that.
Interesting. So you're willing, it's just hard to understand, you're willing to compromise yourself for the benefit of others.
But it's not really the benefit. It's like, what gives me the right to say, oh, for me to have a good time with you, you have to be like this, you know? Either I have a good time with you or I don't. And if I don't have a good time with you in that setting,
you take yourself out of that setting.
Yeah, that's it. It's that simple. Like, it can be that simple.
That is probably the best answer that you could have given.
Thank you.
Like,
I've thought about it. Obviously, I didn't do that in the situation. So this is like a retrospective thought.
No, it's true though, because if you're not comfortable with something, you could either remove yourself from that situation or voice it.
Yeah, and then you have to ask yourself, like, is what I'm voicing fair?
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
Because I think you should be allowed to ask for a compromise for certain things. Like, say if someone... I'm trying to give anonymous examples, but...
Your examples can never be anonymous because
they're just fresh off the dome. So I'm just like... Like, say, for example... Let me think of an example. Let me try and flip the example. So say if you have a friend or a partner who calls you every day, and when they're on the phone to you every day, it's for a lengthy amount of time every time that you speak. I think it's okay to say, can we speak maybe every couple of days, or let's compromise in that way, because there's nothing against you. Like, I don't I'm not enjoying talking to you, but that's excessive for me.
For you,
like, that's a boundary. And I think that's reasonable. And if that person turns around and they're like taking it so personally, where it's like, you're making me feel, like you don't like these parts of me, then that's kind of on them, and that, like, that's kind of, that's a situation where I would expect a compromise. But say if, like, you've spoken to them about it and they carry on doing it and then you kind of leave it, then you're conforming, aren't you? Because you're allowing something that you didn't really want to happen to continue to happen.
I get that. But I mean, the tricky thing is, you can compromise, you can ask to compromise, but at the end of the day, like, if what you want them to compromise on feels like conforming to them, it's never gonna work. It's almost like both sides have to look at it as a compromise.
Right, exactly.
Otherwise,
like a
it's not going to
respectful
work.
compromise. Yeah. And that's the thing, like, it has to be, and that is what a compromise is. It's like both of you understand that someone is both giving and taking in this situation at an equal measure.
Definitely. Would you say there's anything in your life right now, live and direct, that you compromise on a daily basis? You thought I was going to ask
My
you something very personal, but I'm not.
I was like, we spoke earlier today. Like, why are you? That was a private conversation. You could see it in my face. I was like, what are you about to? I thought you was about to cross some lines, but no. So yeah.
Yeah, of course.
What was your question?
No, is there anything on a day to day that you feel like you compromise with?
My sleep.
For what?
For work, you know. I would love to keep calling in sick and have a lie-in, but you just can't do that, and that for me is a big compromise. But even that,
is it a compromise though? Because if you go to bed earlier at night, are you compromising something else to go to bed?
Yeah.
What?
My freedom. Like, I don't want to go to bed so early. But it's not even that. Like, it's not just about sleeping early. Like, if you have particularly busy days, like for me, I like being a morning person if I've decided to be a morning person that day.
Okay.
And I'm not, like, I don't think, like, I'm not a morning person as in get up early and go to work. Like, I like waking up early and having a slow morning. So for me, that is a compromise, you know, because I'm compromising sleep. I'm compromising enjoying my evenings the way that I would like to in order to be at this role.
I'm the complete opposite, you know.
Really?
I like busy mornings and slow evenings.
I
don't know why.
Okay. Busy mornings and slow evenings. That's quite nice though, to like unwind at the end of your day. But sometimes.
But then I stay up late doing work, so.
That's what I was gonna say. It's a risk, you know, to have to rely on your evening to be slow and unwind, because it doesn't end up like that all the time. Whereas in the morning, like a nice slow start, I feel fresh and clear-headed. Like I don't feel like if I start my day and the first thing I'm doing is jumping in the shower, getting ready to go to work, on my way to work, talking to people, that for me feels quite chaotic. Can't really stand it, to be honest. But that is a compromise that I compromise on day to day.
Okay. And is there anything you conform, would you say?
Before I answer that, is there anything that you compromise on day to day? Just feel like it's going to be a big no. Compromise? What's that mean again? What's that?
There must be. I'm just trying to think, what could it be? Yeah, cool. I can't think of an example off the top of my head. But I definitely would have to say yes. I don't know what, but just being in my, what's the word I'm thinking of?
Environment. In
my environment, my life, my responsibilities, my family.
You do have to compromise, you know.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
It is, yeah, it's true. I think I also compromise on, there was something I was going to say, and it was really good, and now I've gone blank. So over to you.
Well, as you're saying that, though, I was just thinking, like, go on, you got it back.
Yeah, got it back. So I was going to say, one thing that I have compromised on is taking certain things too personally. So, like, say, for example, when people call you intense, like, sometimes that can be you're around the wrong people who aren't getting you. Like, there's an element of that. But then also, I think it's worth looking at yourself and thinking, do I sometimes have strong reactions to things that don't need to? So it is so you think I'm intense too?
Wait, no, it's just funny because I've never put the word intense to it.
Yeah, like if you have strong reactions to things, like is it you know, like is that something worth reviewing?
When you say strong reactions, you mean like verbally, or your actual physical actions are strong? The things that you do?
No, like even internally. So like, say for instance, if you're talking to someone who's taking a long time to reply, like that's something that I could typically take as, oh, they're not interested, they're talking to someone else, they're wasting my time, I'm just going to block them. Shout out to our block.
You know what's so funny, yeah? when I said that, I was going to mention the word blocking,
but
I thought,
let me
just see if that's where this is going to end up.
Of course, that's where it's going to go. Whereas now, I'm starting to try and be open to the idea that it's not all about me, you know, and a personal thing against me. Like, people really can just be busy.
Oh, that side of it, yeah. So if somebody told you you're intense, yeah, would you review yourself? Or would you just be like, no, I'm not, I'm just clearly not for this person?
It depends on the context that they're saying it in, which is why I think it's important to say, what do you find intense? You know, I think some people can be so afraid of certain answers to questions, or like any kind of feedback is taken as I'm a bad person. Yeah. And it's like, you have to find out, like, what is it that's intense then? Like, what are you finding to whatever? Because is that something that I can work through? Or can consider working through, because not everything is workable, and that's fine. Or is this a you problem? And I did do that actually recently. Like, someone did say I was quite tense, and I realized it was a them problem. It was not me. I realized they were intense as it goes.
I'm not going to question it.
But I did look at myself though. I was like, okay, maybe. And I did compromise. I was like, maybe I can compromise and just, you know, be a bit more laid back in certain ways. And then I was like two things kind of came from that, which is good. Like, that's why it's good to compromise sometimes, because then you realize what you're willing to do. And then I realized, actually, I don't want to compromise on this. Like, I want someone who's, you know, going to be there a bit more and be more of a texter too. And secondly, I realized that, like I said, I was not intense. They were intense, you know, and you have to be open to like the criticism, as it were, to realize that, I feel.
Interesting. Because that's kind of like taking accountability, though, really.
Yeah, I guess anything. So. Or just being open to it, you know. Yeah. Just being open to it, because then I realized I'm compromising on things that are just my preferences, and I don't need to compromise on that. I just need to find someone who shares the same preferences. Yeah.
Sometimes it's not even about just finding someone that shares the same. It's just someone that, like we said, just allows you to be you, like, unapologetically.
I don't know. I've been struggling with that lately, as in like other people being unapologetically them.
Do you think, like, when you're meeting people new, it doesn't have to be in a
romantic
way? Do you think it's important to show your whole self to them? Like, as in, don't hold back any of your. I'm not saying like give them everything, of course not. But you know, like, there's some things about you that you might. I don't know what the word is. I don't want to say compromise, but like, there's some things about you that, you know, could rile people. Not rile people up. Do you know what I mean? There's like
trigger people.
Yeah. Like, when you're meeting someone new, do you think it's important to kind of hold things back, or just?
Well, what do you mean by rile people? Like, how do you have an example for riling people up in the first?
I don't mean like on an initial meetup, yeah. But say if you're somebody that's like quite bantery in general, yeah, and you might, you just naturally do the banter
playful,
thing,
yeah,
playful. But
some people think it's banter and it's just rude, though. I don't know you. Like,
that's what that's what I'm trying to get at. Like, if you're one of those people, how do you not show that side of you without feeling?
It depends on whether you want new friends or not, because
no, but some people can handle it though. And
some people can handle it, and they do like that, I guess. But like if you're a really bantery person and you're around someone who might not be, like, you have to also understand the fact that you are strangers. Yeah. You know? I don't know when this shifted, but for some reason people keep forgetting that they are strangers. Literally, like, we do not know each other, that we're trying to get to know each other. Even in a friend way. Huh?
So that whole stranger thing's gone out the window.
And it's strange.
Right, literally.
It is, because even with me, like there'll be times when I've told someone something and I'll go back home and I'll think, maybe I shouldn't have mentioned that so soon or whatever.
But these are people you're meeting in real life, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm saying there's people that's doing that online, and that is a complete stranger to you.
But it depends. Like, if you're talking regularly and you haven't seen each other yet or whatever, that's a little bit different, because you're building, like, a connection can be built in any way. But I'm talking about the first few times that you speak to someone. There's a difference between being you, like, be you at all times, like, have your responses to things, but also understand that anything of value really does take time. Like, that it's going to take a while for someone to know who you are, you know, and you only know that by being in proximity with each other. And that doesn't necessarily need to be in person. Proximity could be regularly texting someone and waiting a while to go on a date, or being on the phone or whatever.
You think you can get to know somebody without meeting them in the physical?
No, I think it definitely makes a huge difference being, like, in front of someone, you know, a huge difference, because you really don't know, like, there's a level of trust that won't exist because you actually don't know who you're talking to until you see them in person, you know?
Do you think there's been anybody in your life ever that's really known who you are?
Yeah, but very few.
Okay.
And all of those people, it took time, you know? Like, you see people in situations, or they'll see me in situations, you grow with people, you build that trust. It's really, like, you can't underestimate. I know people say, like, you can have something with someone in 2 months that you haven't had in 2 years. And that is true. Like, there is spark and connection and chemistry and all the rest of it. But when you're to really know someone, that's a commitment. Like, you both, even in friendship, you know.
It takes a long time, you know, because when you think about it, how long does it take for you to know yourself truly?
A lifetime, really.
So to then expect you to know someone else.
And also to be open to, like, that you will always change if you want to. Like, you won't always be the same person, and that's okay.
You have to give yourself room for growth, though. That's where a lot of people don't.
Yeah, give yourself room for growth and allow other things to grow. Like, say if you're having a conversation and you're talking about upbringing and parents and stuff like that, and then your stories come up, that's fine. But, like, for me anyway, I just feel like it's a lot if you're telling someone so many things off the bat and it's so overwhelming and you barely know each other.
I do understand. I understand why some people do it, because they reach a comfort level very quickly and they just want to talk.
And if that comfort level, to be fair, is mutual, then I guess that's okay. Because at the same time, like, I'm really trying to be mindful of not judging people who are like that, or saying that what they're doing is wrong. It's definitely wrong for me.
It's not for you.
Yeah, it's not for me. But then also at the same time, I say that, but I do end up having deeper conversations quite quickly. But I think that's just because I like those types of conversations. But at the same time, in those deeper conversations, I won't reveal too many life experiences off the bat. Because also, maybe I'm just too suspicious, but I always think, like... Okay, clearly you think I'm too suspicious too, but I always think, like, you're thinking that you're telling someone things that don't matter, but you don't know what this person is like. Like, you're thinking that what you might be getting off this person is understanding and comfort and being seen, but they could be looking at you with their whole, like you said, like, your own agenda and an intention, and they might be looking at you like, oh, okay, you're someone I can take advantage of now. You have to protect yourself.
I agree. But it's a case of, like,
if I've told someone something, one, I don't care about that thing too much anymore, and it's always after the fact.
Yeah.
There's not really too much to lose. And like I said, there's a very select few people who will go through things with me in real time.
Okay. What I was going to ask you I wanted to not deep dive, but dig a little bit deeper into the psychology of conforming. Yeah. I'm not saying that you're a conformer.
I know, or a psychologist. Wow, we took it in different directions, but yeah, go on.
What do you think is like the biggest driving? Do you think there's like anything? There could be something in your past that would make you want to conform in your present.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I think if you grew up where, like, you did, like, say in your family, for instance, like, if you did things that were different and then you constantly got told off about it or experienced backlash, or it was easier, you know, to avoid a turbulent environment by conforming, then I can understand, you know, why you would do that and where that would come from.
What do you think of people, that have a name, but then they give you a English, not like English name, but like,
I hear you.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
An easy name to say, let's say, quote unquote. That's a high level of conforming, right? That's not compromise, right?
That's not compromise. Like, unless it was your choice. Like, for me personally,
no, but why would you choose? Like, all right, not go on now. Let me let you finish. Actually, go on.
Because with me personally, like, I prefer my Kam to my full name.
But
like,
Kam is part of your name, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. That's different.
Oh, you're talking about a whole different
name. I'm not talking about shortening your name or.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm talking about somebody that's named. I don't know what his name could be. And then he just chose a name like Roy or Michael. And that's like you've not been given that name. You've just chose because that's an easy name to pronounce. Those kind of things are conforming, right? I'm not saying your name's, I don't know.
You don't have to give it. You can just say, I don't know. Let's.
Yeah. No, because I don't want to. I don't want to say a name that relates to somebody that I know because I'm not talking about them at all.
That is jokes.
But I think we all went school with people because I think back in the day, especially, it was a lot worse. Now there's a lot like of pride amongst our cultures of owning your culture and that. But I think we all went to school with someone that
did that. Yeah, for sure. Even in Asian culture, definitely. It's interesting because
how much do people in this country what's the word I'm thinking of? Conform on their culture and nationality is worrying, you know.
Extremely.
Because you try and fit in with people that don't like necessarily like you.
Or you don't speak up on things, you know, that, or you feel an immense amount of fear to speak up on things because of someone's reaction. Because you feel like you don't deserve to ask for this. All I'm really asking for is some respect. Like, that's it, really.
I don't like when you see, like, in some settings, a bunch of English people, and then there's, like, one person from a different culture or background, and, like, they're getting involved with the like, I don't even want to call it jokes, but the things with like with some, you know, that there's more
and that
more
is
to
conforming,
it. Like the connotation behind that, you know what that is, like, but you're getting involved with it.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I see too much of it in this country, especially like the conforming is in just disgusting.
Especially.
It's disgusting. Compromising now what would be a compromise in those settings? Would a compromise in those settings be like, you know?
Well, you know, just to go back to that, like when I see stuff like that, I don't blame the conformists.
You don't? I do.
Do you? I don't know.
Why don't you?
Because I feel, because that's a hard position to be in. And when it's stuff like that, like when you feel outnumbered, like I think you have to allow everyone to deal with those things in their own way, because it's not easy, you know, and especially if it's something like work where it's your job or this, that and the other, then it can be, if it's a group of friends, pick better friends, like that's your choice, you know.
But then again, say if you're in an area that's overpopulated with people that's not from your culture, say if you live outside of London in one of those cities, where there's no one.
Yeah.
What do you do in those situations? Or I don't know. Like, I don't know if I'm speaking from a privileged position, but I just can't see myself changing who I am because of my location. I can't picture it. It's like being at war with yourself every day. It's just mad.
Yeah.
I'd rather be at war with the world than against myself, to be fair.
But then you can't compare it though, because you haven't experienced what that's like.
That's true. That is true. That's why I said I'm speaking from a very privileged position, maybe, being from such a multicultural city. But
even in a multicultural city, it still comes up so much.
Yeah, you got pockets of it that live on today.
A
100%.
lot. Like, it's a lot. So that's the thing. Like, that's the thing. So, okay, so what would you give as an example of compromise in that situation then?
What would be a compromise in those situations? I don't know, you know.
I think for me, in those situations, not conforming is like not laughing along, you know?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. That's bottom of the barrel stuff, to be laughing along to stuff.
Yeah.
That you know is morally wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
Compromise. I don't know, you know. I don't think there's much you can compromise when it comes to your culture. I don't think so.
But then what if there's elements of your culture that you don't like?
Yeah, if you don't like it yourself, then cool.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to like everything from your culture. But
like, to dampen things down to make other people around you feel comfortable.
I just don't agree with that. The only thing that I could think of off the top of my head, is like, you know, when you work certain places and you know that some of your food is kind of flavoursome. Like, bringing that and warming it up in the microwave and stuff.
You know what I hate, when someone's like, ooh, what have you got? And then they're sticking their face in your food to smell it. But this girl I used to work with ages ago, she used to always do that. And I'd be like, can you move? Like, I don't even want to eat it now.
Yeah, no, all of that. But saying that, I've been in a situation, not me personally, but I've been there when it's happened to someone. And they brought some food in, and they would bring food in often, whatever. And then one day, somebody's come in now and they're like, oh, what's that, chicken? Because I know you like your chicken. But they wasn't eating chicken, did it? And like, I saw them laughing along to it. And I just looked at them like...
But maybe that could be a compromise, because you're like...
Do you think so?
Because, like, in that situation, it's like, I'm trying to eat. I'm not trying to fight right now. I'm just trying to eat my food. Like, I'd rather laugh and let you carry on walking past me than try and tell you that this is not chicken. And where did that come from? And why are you saying that?
You know why they're saying it, though.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Like that in itself could be a compromise. I think conforming... I know I just said 2 seconds ago that is conforming. But, like, that in itself could be... Because that situation... Like, I can picture that. Do you know what I mean? I think conforming would be... Damn, the line is so thin.
It is. It's a very thin line.
Really thin line.
I think the base level of it is the moment you're doing something that makes you uncomfortable to appease other people or to get somewhere in life, but you don't like what you're doing, that's conforming. I would say so.
Yeah. Or when you step back on a you know, like if you have expressed something and a boundary and then you fall back on it, like is that conforming though? Like, if you really think about conforming being going along with something, I feel like maybe that's a different thing.
I think it's all internal, how it makes you feel. If you're truly uncomfortable, then it's conforming. If you're like, all right, cool, maybe I can see your point. Even though I like to do this thing, I can see your point.
Exactly. Like, if you can see a point, you know?
That's compromise, I think.
Yeah. I think even like just taking a step back from someone if you need to, you know? Like, if you've tried to tell them certain things and you can see they have proven to you that they're unwilling to compromise. I don't know, like when I see that, I just take it as, well, what can I really do with that then? Like it's down on me to keep putting myself in that situation around you or not. And then when I have stepped back from you and you wonder why, then that's down to you
to figure it out.
Yeah, or not even to figure it out, but then decide if now you want to deal with it, you know?
Yeah.
And I've been on that side too, like when, you know, like if people have taken a step back because of something I'm doing, then I have to think and ask myself, like, is it worth it? You know, should I be willing to compromise? And sometimes it really is not, like, I really am not willing to compromise on this thing. And that's okay. And other times it is. But yeah, I don't know. One thing I will say though, is if someone has come to me with something, I'm always willing to listen to what that something is. Like if they've expressed something that I'm doing that's making them uncomfortable, because maybe I do that too much though. I think there's also a balance there. But I think it's good to be open to that.
Yeah.
As long as you're not allowing someone to change or manipulate you in an unfair way, which can often happen.
I get you. Well, on that note, we're at that time of the
time of the night. Oh yeah, time of the ep. Word of advice. Yeah, this will be interesting. What would be your word of advice to the conformer and your word of advice to the compromiser?
The word of advice to the compromiser would be...
Don't do it.
To the compromiser would be... Ooh, that's a tough one. The word to the conformer would be grow some balls. No, joking. It would be...
It's not easy though.
No,
yeah.
It's not. I would just
but
say...
it's true though. It is true. Like that, you know, my word of... sorry, go on.
No, go on, because I don't have a word.
So my word of advice to the conformer would be just do it once. Like you have to do it once. Because when you do it, you realize it's not that hard and it gets easier and easier each time. But you have to be willing to be uncomfortable that first time to not conform. And then suddenly you really can be unapologetic. Like you won't be a conformer.
Yeah. Do you know what? My word to both, well, not word, my words to both of them would be don't neglect your morals. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
Whatever you do, don't neglect your morals.
That's it. Don't neglect your morals.
Literally. But yeah. All right then.
All right. Well, see you soon, alphas.
Until next time.
Until next time.